This is Amanda Lucas again. Welcome to part 2 of the strategic plan overview. I will summarize recommendations from the plan that we are working to implement and will highlight our next steps as a council. In this second video, we will specifically cover our broad 5-year goal, our vision, our policy agenda, how we work, short-term implementation of the plan, integrating projects already underway into the plan, future activities, and next steps. The recommendations in the plan are categorized as capacity building recommendations and policy and programmatic recommendations. When thinking about capacity building, think organizational and how we operate. When thinking about policy and programmatic, think about the work we do and why we do it. All of the recommendations are in service of our broad 5-year goal. Take a moment to imagine us 5 years from now. We are a regional food policy council that serves as the go-to forum for collaboration on food systems change in our region, amplifies needs and wins in the regional food systems work, facilitates collaboration across sectors and geographies in the region, operates with systems and processes that reflect shared ownership and collective impact, is a trusted source for research, advocacy, and strategic planning, effectively advocates for policy and systems changes, and operates with diversified and stable funding sources. That would be amazing, right? Well, you will help make that a reality. Zoomed out further, the plan offers us a refined vision for our community. A resilient regional food system. We include social, environmental, and economic resilience in this vision. This is ultimately what we are working towards together. Adopting this re-articulated vision statement was among the few recommendations we were able to implement relatively early. It was ratified by the voting council members actively participating in fall 2022. We adopted a policy agenda that aligns with one of our major statewide partners focused on food policy work, the Ohio Food Policy Network, or OFPN. These new focus points will also serve as topics of our committees this year, in addition to the steering committee. Each policy area and its related committee is guided by an affirmative statement of belief. This alignment with OFPN will strengthen our advocacy through a shared framing of the issues. By identifying our strengths and where our unique position is to meet the needs of our stakeholders, the strategic plan helped us revise our statements about how we work. We build networks for cross-sector collaboration and learning, amplify stories to facilitate that collaboration and celebrate progress, build capacity across our networks through education, funding, and other resources, and change policies through advocacy for systems change. Some of the key short-term milestones that we have been working on since the strategic planning process wrapped include joining a national community of practice for regional food policy councils to explore what we can do with a region-specific focus, which is rare for food policy councils, increasing backbone staff capacity in areas of communications and network building through hiring me as the Community Connections Coordinator, and finally, recruiting new members. That's many of you. Often, when you adopt a new plan, there can be a disjuncture between the path you're on and your future path. To address this disconnect, our strategic plan final report includes tables that lay out how our current work maps onto our newly adopted policy agenda. The strategic plan final report has several tables in section 5 called recommendations. Each row of the table explains what level of policy current projects address. You can find the final report on the resource slide of the video, which is the last slide. The current slide here shows an example of a current project from Table 9 of the Strategic Plan Final Report under the policy area of farms and land use. Our current work is to support connections between food hubs or distributors and historically marginalized farmers at the level of institutional purchasing. There are further examples from the tables in the Strategic Plan Final Report, and each committee will receive the information most relevant to their policy area to review more closely at a later point. You'll also receive more information on the recommendations for new policy and programmatic priorities and related activities we could undertake as a council, so we can build on the momentum of our existing work in the current landscape. Many of these suggestions are included in the appendix of our Strategic Plan Final Report. You will facilitate your committee in discussing these possibilities, present to your fellow council members for decision making, and then lead committee members in implementing, all with the help of our backbone staff. On this slide, you can see an example of one of the suggestions from the appendix of the Strategic Plan Final Report. The suggestion is under the policy area of access and education. We can act at the levels of institutional and neighborhood policy and practice by working to amplify success stories of initiatives that help build neighborhood-level food access. Initiatives that are in line with the policy priority of advocating for innovative business models that support food access, particularly in areas impacted by food apartheid. We are in the process of implementing our recommendation to expand the Council's membership structure and rebuild a decision-making process. You'll be helping with that, especially the steering committee working on governance and membership. The implementation in the medium term will involve capacity building through strategic communications and a strategic diversified financial plan for longer-term sustainability. We will build on the momentum from recent wins to make decisions on our policy advocacy and programmatic undertakings, based on the recommendations included in the plan and response to the ever-evolving needs of our region. We are excited to collaborate with you and with the whole network to bring our vision of a resilient regional food system to fruition, with the Food Policy Council serving as the go-to forum and as a trusted source of guidance and information. This resource page includes the link for the Strategic Plan Final Report. Review the entire plan and stay tuned for updates. It also includes a document created by Lindsay that serves as an overview of findings. Some of the findings are highlighted on the slides in this video. Check out the overview of findings to learn more.